Day 3 of the 151st Open Championship, and different weather conditions today. It is raining in the northwest. Actually just stopped this very second, and we are on the range. We've been here all week, and we're staying here till 3 o'clock tomorrow, bringing you inside the ropes, all the analysis, cameras everywhere. And my goodness, what a round Brian Harman had yesterday. He's 10 under par, leading the Open Championship. Due to have, a bit of drizzle this afternoon, but right now I'm not wearing my waterproofs. If you are tuning into Live at the Range for the first time, where have you been? We have been here since Monday morning, and it's been absolutely brilliant. I've got a massive grandstand to my right-hand side, and the crowd this morning wearing a few waterproofs. Give us a wave, everybody. Hello, good morning. Good morning, good to see you. We're warming up slowly here, but we're expecting around 260,000 through the gates come the end of tomorrow. Who will be champion golfer of the year? It really is all to play for. Just going to take a little walk to my right and join Johnny Morgan. John, good to see you.
How you doing?
Yeah, really good, really good. And I'm so impressed yesterday with Brian Harman. 65, eagle on the final hole, 4 birdies on his front 9. He's 10 under. He leads the Open Championship by 5 shots. Was that one of the best rounds of golf that you've ever seen?
Oh, without doubt. I mean, to be 10 under, I mean, breaking loads of records as well. Not many people have been in that position before, and after 2 stellar rounds of golf, to have a 5-shot lead is unthinkable. Around a golf course like this as well, where it's super tough, and you think everyone's on an even kill, he's like separating himself. Unbelievable.
Just tell us a little bit about his game and how he's produced these 2 great rounds of golf.
Well, being a left-hander, we've only had 2 winners. Left-handers, Bob Charles, Phil Mickelson, could we see a third? I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but predominantly a right-to-lefter, which means he's a fader of the golf ball, which suits, Hoylake. So there he is, he's pretty much a Daniel Dart of the game as well, doesn't miss many fairways, so he's keeping the ball in play. Good putter, as we've seen, uses quite a big old Malletty putter, and, gets an eagle on the last, really to give himself so much ammo and space. I mean, but now all the pressure's on him.
That's my next question. Is all the pressure on him?
Well,
when you see that gap, you just don't want it to close, do you? But it can. It happens in majors all the time.
And it will as well, because pressure is the root of all evil, really, in the sense of the golf game. The more you put on yourself, and the most that people put on you, it weighs heavy on you, and
Isn't it a
people are going to fight
privilege?
against
Pressure's
you.
a privilege.
Oh yes, it is.
As
And
well.
what's the other line that comes with that?
I can't remember.
I mean, I've just lost the bearings.
Oh gosh, it's so famous. I'm going to get back to you on that one. But Tommy Fleetwood breathing down his neck at -5. He said it was a grind yesterday. It was really hard to make birdies out there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the wind was a little bit stronger than it was. The course was drying out, nothing like it is now, that's for sure. But you could see it getting brown by the minute, and it was getting more bouncy, more tricky, and that's where this golf course has really shown its teeth, But now the rain has come. Expect lower scores again. The wind is not there. It's supposed to be pretty dormant all day between 5 and 10, so nothing like it was the first 2 days.
No, let's have a look at the leaderboard and confirm Brian Harman right at the top with 10 under par. Tommy Fleetwood in second spot at -5. So if Brian drops a few, basically, all these names are in contention.
Well, look at it. It's all stacked up. From Cameron Young, nearly winning the Open last year. Jordan Spieth, who's a past winner at Birkdale. I mean, oh my goodness, you can't write him off. Jason Day, Shivanka Sharma going well around here. Minwoo Lee, what a talent. Sepp Straka coming off a win at the John Deere Classic, and Tommy Fleetwood, the local favourite that everyone just wants to see lift that jug. And
really good to have Minwoo Lee with We did an interview with him down on the range, didn't we? He had his little AirPods in the comms. We're talking to him. It went down really well. What a great character.
Oh, he's
got a brilliant personality.
He has.
And his sister, Minji Lee, is going to be here today, so hopefully going to catch up with her at some point. Major champion. Matthew Southgate, brilliant story. Great to see him at 1 under par, but it's so tightly packed.
It is. I mean, Southgate, made an eagle up the last, chipped it in. One of 3 people to make an eagle on that 18th, but that pin was really accessible yesterday. Tristan Lawrence going well, made an amazing up and down from over the back of 17 day before yesterday. That was amazing. Rory McIlroy right there, 1 under par. Just keep knocking on the door. Always seems to all that nice little clutch putt on the last hole to give the fans hope.
Good
Brilliant.
to get into the red, isn't it? To have that birdie on the last hole. And further down the leaderboard, Victor Hovland. Can we go this far down to level par?
Oh, of course we can.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. This is a course that's going to give it up today. You get it going. The blade is working, on the greens. It's going to be a little bit slower out there. Got to be a little bit more aggressive with your putts. you know, it could work for someone. They could easily go out there and shoot at 65, 64, and they're right in this.
Yeah, and Ricky Fowler showing that there are birdies available. He's through 10 holes at -2. Yeah, just describe these conditions again, John.
Well, sublime right now, I've got to say. I mean, this is what everyone will want. I mean, this golf course is going to be playing long today, for the reason being it's wet, it's damp. We've had a lot of rain overnight. It's really soft underfoot. I mean, it was kind of, you know, bearing the waters, bearing on the ground because it was getting firmer and harder. But now, you know, it's going to be soft, so it's going to play a lot long. The wind is not there, so yeah, I'm thinking low scores. I really am. But we're supposed to see a few scattered showers come here and there, so we never know what we're going to get.
We are missing a few notable names on that leaderboard, and they include...
Yeah.
We're going to take a look at the notable names now. I'm just having a look at John Rahm. What have you made of John's first couple of rounds?
Oh, just a little bit weak to his standards. I mean, some players, we see Gary Woodland go past us there as well, but yeah, John just, I mean, it's just an unbelievable player.
These are the past Open champs who have missed the cut. Justin Rose, Dustin Johnson, Ernie Els, Phil, Darren, Shane, Francesco, Colin. Any surprises there?
Oh, yeah, loads of surprises. Thought Colin Morikawa would do well around a golf course like this. He's a great iron player, and he's one of the best. Shane Lowry thought, you know, low draw of the ball, workmanship around a links golf course, he'd be right there. You know, Dustin Johnson, not a surprise actually. I know people might find that hard to believe, but on the range yesterday, working really hard, trying to figure something out with Claude Harmon III. Couldn't get it done. We've got Justin Rose over our shoulder on the left. He's still working on his game. Obviously missed the cut, just working on a few extra things. Ernie Els, Phil Mickelson, Darren Clark, a little bit of the older generation there. Finding it probably hard, really long, this golf course playing this week. So, yeah, Frankie Molinari, gutted not to see him do well because I know he's fighting for that Ryder Cup and hopefully he'll get it.
Yeah, tee times make a difference, don't they, John? They really do. Let's have a look at some, in fact, and see what tee times we've got coming up. We might do that in just a second, but here we go. Rory McIlroy, his tee time. He is 1 under par with a whole bunch of players. It's coming. I promise you it is.
Don't worry,
It's just a second.
I'm watching John Rahm anyway. He's got 3 wood out and he's just absolutely ripping them down there with a little juicy fade, which he normally does. I just love it. Adam on the bag.
Yeah.
Got a nice story. Helped me off the plane when I had a big seizure in Dallas. Yeah, good egg he is on the bag. Sensible man. Strong on the shoulders, and you'll need it with John Rahm.
Yeah, if we just move round, Kev, actually, you can get John Rahm in the picture. We'll stand over here. And Masters champ, of course. And
oh, yeah.
he was speaking yesterday after his round. John, I'm going to go this side. It's my better side.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, there we go. He said that the crowds were massive. The crowds were huge for Rory and for Rory.
Quite overpowering. I mean, there's a lot of people on the golf course walking around, so you kind of, you know,
found it a
people
little
are
bit
getting in
difficult
the
to
way.
maneuver himself around.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, if you're trying to concentrate, you know, you feel a little bit claustrophobic. You can do sometimes, especially if there's a lot of people around you. And obviously, being a stellar player, you ever want a piece of the pie and get close to him. Understandable. We've got mighty Ricky Ponting, cricketer here from Australia, working the Ashes. And, you know, he's come to have a little gander and see what some of the best can do. So that's quite nice to see.
Yeah, he's maybe we'll get a quick word with him in just a moment. But in terms of Rahm, what have you seen from his game since winning the Masters?
Oh, not much. I mean, he's taken a nice little break. Normally, a lot of the players, I mean, 8 of the top 10 played in the Scottish last week. He decided to go to Ireland, hit some shots in some linksy weather. You know, has that worked for him? Well, not at the moment, but this is John Rahm. I mean, he could easily go and post a 64, 63 today, put him back in it. Could easily do it.
OK, we spoke about those tee times. Rory McIlroy is out with Max Homer. It's in a few hours' time to... What time is it now, John? We're on air at different times. It's just gone 11 o'clock, isn't it? So in 3.5 hours' time, he's out with Max Homer. And, yeah, what have you seen from Rory over the last couple of days?
Oh, just his demeanour's fantastic. I mean, in Scotland, he was so relaxed. He really was. Absolutely striping it, hitting the ball, absolutely miles, committing to every shot. Looks very relaxed, very calm within. 9
behind, though, John.
9 behind, but the pressure's on, you know, Brian Harmon. I mean, it really is. So, I mean, he could easily come back into the field and these guys push themselves up. So, it's 9-shot lead going into the last 2 minutes. Nothing. Honestly, it's nothing.
Can't wait to see how he goes on in those first few holes. Got to get off to a quick start on this golf course here at Royal Liverpool. Let's move the tee times on, see who's next. But my goodness, the crowds, they were out in force, weren't they, for him, following him and Justin Rose and John Rahm yesterday. Sharma and Jason Day. Jason Day, winner of the USPGA, of course, in 2015, coming back from back problems. And will he be pleased with 3 under?
Oh, yeah, of course you would. I mean, you're
I would have said delighted.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Jason Day, stunning player. Great work ethic, love his style of game, coming back into really good form. Great short game, you know, so around a golf course like this, it's inevitable you're going to miss greens. You'll get that up and down. Shubhankar Sharma, lovely player, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet as well. Nice to see him doing really well, so that's a great tee time to follow at 3:10.
And Sharma actually had to go back to his last top 10 was at the Nedbank, so that was quite a long time ago, ranked 276 in the world rankings. There is Minwoo Lee, 3 under with Seb Straka. You alluded to the fact he's just won the John Deere, so coming off being in the winner's circle, my goodness, you cannot beat that for confidence, can you?
No, I mean, that's exactly what you want. I mean, he probably had one of the best hole outs you'll see all week or nearly all year. You know, 18 there, bumped it into the bank just over the bunker, drifted on down, last breath, caught the front centre of the hole and dropped, and that was unbelievable. Minwoo Lee came in with amazing up and down at 17 as well yesterday, went long into the waist bunker. Yeah, really showing his class. I mean, that's a really good group to watch. There's a lot of good playing going on between them two. So, yeah, that'd be a really interesting game to watch. Just looking over his shoulder as John Rahm makes his way off the range. Now he'll be heading towards the tee. Yeah, and like just looking up at the clouds here, Di, and I'm not seeing any rain. I'm seeing rain clouds, but it seems to be parting a little bit. So fingers crossed it keeps moving away.
And finally, we've got Tommy Fleetwood and Brian Harman in that final group. My goodness, 5 shots, as we say, can dwindle away very quickly in an Open Championship. Brian Harman tied 6th in the Open last year. Just wondering if we can muscle in here and grab a... Guys, could we possibly grab a quick chat? Would that be all right? We're just on live at the range for the RNA. Would that be okay? 2 minutes?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, guys. Would that be okay, Ricky?
Yes,
We've been watching you with my mate Kevin Peterson on the Ashes all week. You've been brilliant stuff. Mark, great to see you here. How are you?
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. It's my first ever live professional golf tournament.
Is it?
Yeah, after all these years. So, yeah, it's been wonderful just watching the boys get ready to go out there and play.
The sound here on the range, isn't it? The sound of the way they strike it.
It's pretty good, and it kind of makes you think that I'm not really playing the same sport.
We've done that for a long time.
Yeah, but it just sort of reconfirms what I already suspected, was that I'm really not a very good golfer.
Oh, what do you play off?
I'm off 5 and a bit.
Oh, excellent. What about yourself, Ricky?
I play off 2. Yeah, so I've played a lot of golf right the way through my junior days. I mean, I was a school holiday sport for us. Mum and Dad both worked, and me and my brother and sister get dropped off at the golf course in the morning and picked up after work. So that's sort of how we picked it up. But no, most cricketers are the same, right? We go on long tours. You're away for a couple of months at a time, and pack your golf clubs and hopefully get a decent games of golfing on the way.
Yeah, pretty much every cricketer plays golf, don't they? I was just saying the Ashes. We have to mention what's going on in the Ashes, if that's okay. Ricky, your opinion first off. So England, their first innings. My goodness, it was pretty sensational. It's raining right now, but I believe if someone can let me know the score, or you might know the score right now.
Sure it does.
I know that the Australians are sitting back.
1-1-3 for 4 right now.
Yeah. So they're hoping that it rains for the next couple of days. But I mean, what an incredible series it's been. It's been great to be here and be a part of the series. You know, there was a big build up to it. You know, since Brendan and Ben have taken over, you know, running England cricket, the standard of cricket they've played has been unbelievable. It's got people all around the world talking about Test match cricket again, which is great. And unfortunately, the last week and a half, Australia have been on the receiving end of some Bazball cricket, but
it's been sensational.
It has. I mean, that day 2 and what we saw even early yesterday with the way that England had batted. I mean, they scoring it over 5 runs and over. I think for most of day 2, they scored it over 7 runs and over, which is just unheard of. I mean, average is about 3.5 runs and over, and they're scoring at double that. So it's been exciting.
Yeah, it's been quite extraordinary to watch. I mean, they knew that the weekend the weather forecast was terrible, so they knew they had to go really hard. But if you factor in the fact that they're playing against the team that are the world Test champions at the moment, got some of the best bowlers in the world playing, and they were treated like, you know, it was like schoolboys bowling at them at times. It was just quite ridiculous. But having said all of that, Australia being 2-1 up with the weather around, they have to win the Test match. Otherwise, it's all done. And England will probably then look back at some of the sort of perhaps recklessness and errors made in the first 2 Test matches that gave Australia a 2-0 lead, even though England at the time were probably worth winning at least one of those 2 Tests. So, look, we're riding on the weather over the next couple of days, but England will feel if they get about 4 hours maybe of cricket in over the course of the next couple of days, that'll be long enough for them to force a win. Australia 162 behind before making us bat again, and England will think we get a little break in the weather like we did at Leeds last week, and we'll win the Test match.
Crossing fingers and toes. Sorry, Ricky. I must just say, though, my daughter, who's 7, was absolutely glued to the final day of the first Test. She was literally obsessed with it. So, you know, we're spreading the word of cricket.
Well,
it's just great to see.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about the cricket that England have decided to play. And we knew coming in here there were going to be 2 contrasting styles of play. Australia have always sort of played the more disciplined, longer sort of game, you know, drag games out and try and grind teams into the ground. Well, England are going the other way. England are just trying to demolish teams and blow them off the park and play 3- and 4-day Test matches. That's what they're trying to do. I mean, it's not. You know, they don't need 5 days anymore. They're happy to get a game over in 3 days.
It's so exciting, isn't it, John?
Well, I know you're talented, Ricky. I mean, but you're leading the Open by 5 shots. That's your body double, isn't it, Brian?
Haven't we had some fun with that the last couple of days? I mean, I've been aware because I'm a golf tragic. I mean, I play all the time. I watch every single shot of every event around the world every week. So I've known of Brian and the likeness for a long time. But well, wait till I get a cap on. Wait till I get a cap on. See tomorrow kind of thing. And you see the shot that they've been using of him now. He's in his follow through and he's got his tongue. Out in the
Don't tell me you're a lefty as well.
I'm not a lefty, no, but I guarantee you, every action shot you see of me when I was playing, I had my tongue out in the Z. Exactly the same.
Wow.
It's uncanny. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we're going to get a couple of shots of that.
I'm actually hoping to see him. I'm not sure if we're going to get to stay around that long because
we might have to get back. Well, we've heard we were only allowed down here really because the weather forecast was so bad that we thought we might get wiped out. But there's a bit of a whisper going around that there might be a break between midday and 4, so we might have to go back to the day job, unfortunately.
I'm staying here.
I would.
I'm staying here. I'd much rather watch this than watch a game of cricket.
No, it's brilliant, isn't it? Picking up tips. What have I got to tell Ricky? Oh, there is a cabin with the TV on the range if you want to stay and watch a little bit of the cricket while, you know, or whatever.
I don't think we'll get back on for a while. Yeah, I think it's still raining quite heavily in Manchester.
We'll get you a cup of tea. You can stay here for. Listen, chaps, thanks so much for chatting to us.
Thanks, Ricky.
Excellent. Really great to meet you both. Great, excellent. Okay, we're going to head to George now. He's out on the course. Over to you, George.
Yeah, well, I was almost going to run back to you purely to talk cricket with the guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Great to have them on site. Obviously, a big day in the Ashes today. A lot of non-cricket fans have been talking to me this morning about the result of a draw and a washout means the Aussies could win the series. So a lot of interesting conversations learning about the great game of cricket. But let's talk golf. We've made it to the weekend. The anticipation is high. You can feel it in the air. It's great stuff. But what you can also not feel in the air is raindrops anymore. Everyone was anticipating a very, very wet day today, but it's stopped at the moment. And to be honest, it's actually quite peaceful. Not a huge amount of wind to speak of. If there is any wind, it's changed directions ever so slightly. If you were to be playing down the first, it's more slightly downwind now rather than into. But I think it's actually a good morning for scoring now. If you're out there at the moment or just teeing off, you've got a pretty good ticket. Chipping green's getting a little bit busier. We just talked to Joost Luiten. He's in a very good mood. I've got a feeling he's going to go low today. But yeah, long story short, it's actually quite a good day for golf at the moment. We're well laid up, and hopefully if it stays anything half as good as it is now, we're going to have a great moving day. So we cannot wait for this range to get busy, bring a bit of energy, and then we'll be away laughing. But we're going to be here all day, and as soon as those leaders start piling in, we're going to be covering them for you from behind the scenes. So we cannot wait. We'll see you again very soon.
Thanks very much, George. We've just, to my left-hand side, we have got Zach Johnson behind us. Yeah, Ryder Cup captain, and you know, one of the talking points from coming out of the media yesterday was Justin Thomas finishing off 11 over par after 2 rounds. He shot level yesterday, didn't he? It was all over after the first 18 holes. He had a bit of a shocker, didn't he? He said he was totally confused because some of the shots he was hitting, he said were world class, but the scoring wasn't there. Tell us about the dynamic between. Kev wants us to walk down now. We're going to walk this way.
Yeah, we'll walk down now.
Do you know what he did? Our cameraman just instructed
looking...
me to walk, so I am doing. It's a little bit bossy. Don't think he's had his caffeine.
Looking dapper though. I mean, looking the part over there.
On a serious note, though, Justin Thomas, if you know this kind of result, he said hopefully previous performances will stand him in good stead.
Yeah, I mean the Gremlins.
There's 6 wild cards available. Do you think Zach will pick him?
Do I think he'll pick him? At the moment, no. I don't think the head is in the right place for Justin Thomas. I think the Gremlins in between the ears are just causing a bit of havoc for him, you know. And yeah, I mean, he's in a conflicted space when it comes to mentality for the game. You know, I was observing him last week in Scotland with Bones, and he, you know, it wasn't just one option. There was many 3 options and 4 options to how to play a shot. You can't kind of do that. You've got to be really clear conscious, and it just looks like there's a lot of cloudiness going on at the moment.
A lot of noise.
And I think he'd be the first one to hold his hands up. He's a proper team player, Justin Thomas, so, you know, he's not going to put too much pressure on Zach Johnson. I think, you know, if he's not got the game, he'd be the first one to hold his hands up. You know, I think he's a stalwart of the game. Like he said, he had some lovely words to say about Justin Thomas and wishes him the best of luck. And like the old saying is, form is temporary, you know, class is permanent.
Yeah.
So, you know, Justin will come back because his work ethic is unbelievable.
It's really fascinating, isn't it, with this golf course and how it's really destroyed some people's scorecards, you know, especially the 18th with a few 9s. As I mentioned earlier, Tyrrell Hassan finishing with a 9 yesterday, and Justin Thomas, he had a lot of trouble with those. You know, it's like a necklace of pearls, isn't it, of bunkers around the front of the green on 18.
But that's the worst case scenario for you. 18 with the out of bounds down the right hand side, and it's a tight driving hole. Predominantly, most players hit the left to right, right to left, as that is, you know, and all of a sudden that's off the left hand side and down. Literally, that brings all that danger into play, and that is in your head. You know, don't get it going on the wind. It's a goner, and we've seen Tyrrell chuck 2 over there, and then hoiked it 150 yards further left with the 3rd.
Would you have liked to have had dinner with Tyrrell Hatton last night?
It would have been comedy, like it would always be. You know, you take it on the chin with Tyrrell. I mean,
he was great value. But but today, expect more of the same, more drama on Royal Liverpool Golf Course. It's really exciting, isn't it? Saturday of the 151st Open Championship. We've had a great morning so far. Spoken to a couple of cricketing legends, including Ricky Ponting, who's pretty much the doppelganger of Brian Harman. Take a look at this. My goodness, you literally cannot tell them apart. They are twins.
They are.
Oh, thanks, Ricky. Thanks for your time. And come on, England. That's all I'm saying. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Follow the 151st Open in unrivaled detail on the Open.com and the Open app. Go behind the scenes with Live at the Range from Monday to Sunday of Open Week.
Yeah, that was flush.
Track every shot hit at the championship and get real-time statistics with ShotView. Get minute-by-minute coverage on the go with Open Radio.
Well, they're jumping up and down. It's an unbelievable bunker shot.
Follow feature groups throughout each day of the championship and soak up all the action on the incredible 17th hole with the Par 3 channel. All streamed live on the Open.com and the Open app. Get closer to the Open wherever you are.
Welcome back to Live at the Range. We are looking at Alex Fitzpatrick, who's due off at 12:05. He's teeing off with Zach Fisher, and he's performed better than his brother this week so far. We've done enough work. You know, we have done enough work this morning, John. I think it's time we catch up with our commentators. Let's head to them. I'm wondering if they've had their full Monty breakfast this morning. Simon Holmes is with
Peter Finch. Peter Finch. Morning, Peter. Morning, Di. John.
Morning, everybody.
Oh, good to speak to you. How are you both?
Yeah, good. We're pumped up. Had a long old cruise around the golf course this morning. Who was out early? Who was impressive? Ricky Fowler. I went to watch him for a little bit. Interesting conditions, Peter.
Yes, absolutely. And I haven't had a full breakfast this morning. I've had porridge. Yes, because I've been inspired by the athletic prowess of all these players that we're watching, although I did back it up with the bacon sandwich. Yes, the course out there this morning, it's a lot wetter. I would actually say, if you could set up the golf course, set up the conditions better for the chasing pack to get after Brian Harman, I'm not entirely sure how you could do it better than it is right now.
I think that's right. I'd say probably the only thing that will be more difficult is probably the rough, but the fairways will be bigger. The run-outs of fairways will be less fiery. The greens will be less fiery, and so hopefully with that combination, the guys are going to create more birdie chances for themselves. So for Alex Fitzpatrick, he is going to go out. Where is he here? He is going to go out at 12:05. Zach Fisher. He is on. Where is he? He's on 144, so 2 over.
Yeah, I have a quick chat to him yesterday. He was very relaxed, enjoying his Open experience.
So here we go. Just have a look. What we've got on that right side here is just the data that which we collect with the Top Tracer technology. That's a ball tracking system that we've been using this week just to highlight some of the shots the guys are hitting here. This is just kind of cruising through his wedges. Just probably like a little 70-mile-an-hour swing, creating a little 72-mile-an-hour ball speed, sawn-off finish.
Yeah, he gets through his warm-up routine pretty quickly, Alex. He'll get up through his wedges to his irons in no time at all the way to the driver. Those, hopefully we'll get Kev to have a look at those driver head covers that Alex has got on his clubs as well. Some limited special editions that look very, very fancy. The best thing about, one of the best things about Live at the Range, the fact that we can get in amongst the bags as well and actually understand what they're using, how they're switching up their club makeups to contest with Open conditions. Well, it's for me anyway, but I'm a golf geek, so.
I'm a golf geek. I'll go with
golf geeks together.
Well, I think we
Oh,
might
that's
be.
nice.
We might well be. Yes, it's pretty fascinating. The manufacturers were here pounding around Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, getting the guys' bags ready. We've seen a ton. Probably the big change we've seen is a little bit. Some of the guys have taken a bit of the bounce off their wedges. Some of the guys, especially maybe the American guys, have done that a bit more. And in the top of the bag, there's been inputted driving irons for the crosswinds, Peter.
Yeah, and a few players using a 2-wood equivalent and a mini driver. It's interesting with the bounce angles on the wedges as well. Like what a lot of players will do is, because the ground is usually so firm, we don't want a lot of bounce on the bottom of the club because the leading edge will appear that it's a lot further off the ground and look like you're going to thin every shot. However, with the rain pounding down overnight, I don't know, they might be switching a few wedges in there with a little bit more bounce again.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. So Mark Blackburn just taking Alex Fitzpatrick through a few little reminders. Mark will... what will be Mark's next guy coming down? That would probably be Max Homer, I would think. So that little sawn-off finish. We see that more and more. Just getting the timing off the grass. So trying to get Alex's hands not too low. Trying to get the heel of the club out of the ground. Stay on top of it. Get in close. Stay nice and ballsy with your posture. Don't get back on your heels. A little bit higher hands. It's an upbeat sort of a swing, isn't it?
Yeah, the tempo of it is very brisk, which is nice to see. That might be something which runs in the family, obviously. Matt Fitzpatrick, his brother, has got also a very, very quick tempo.
Yeah, Alex Fitzpatrick was a pretty stellar player at Wake Forest University. That is in North Carolina. Arnold Palmer's home place. It produced some amazing, talented golfers.
I think the Fitzpatricks have won the Battle of the Brothers this week. Rasmus Højgaard has missed the cut. Nikolai played well, though. He's at, pretty sure, 1 under par at the moment.
Rasmus has done so well, though, hasn't he? Winning
he has, yeah.
Maiden Himmerland. I mean, that's an unbelievable thing to do in your home country. Just maybe carrying a little... You were chatting, I think, to him, just carrying maybe a little rib injury. Rasmus there.
Yeah, it's always difficult, isn't it? I mean, certainly whenever you go through a period when you win, like the actual emotional toll that takes is really high, especially in your home country with that weight of expectation. It can be tricky. And it often goes with the Højgaards that when one wins, the other brother steps up and has very good performances
It's
afterwards.
unbelievable.
Surprising, that, isn't it?
Yeah, the power of twins. Some magic we don't understand. So just clipping away up to 120 carry. Might just be a little 54 degree, depending how he has it set up. Normally 4 degrees in between the wedges, so 60, 56, 52, 48 is a popular combo. Just kind of depends on how you hit your numbers.
Moving up to about 130 carry there, so probably just a pitching wedge there, isn't it? Yeah, 133. Maybe 20 degrees.
Upbeat and in short sleeves. That's better than we were anticipating, Peter. We were thinking it was going to be, at least the message from last night was, expect the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse to descend on Royal Liverpool. It's going to be a washout, and we have dodged a bullet.
Yeah, looking at the forecast,
So
I was
far,
expecting to see Noah going through the car park with his arc, but it is actually quite warm as well.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice. So those conditions, as mentioned, not a strong breeze. It has switched direction as well.
Yeah.
You know, a breeze from the south at Hoyle Lake generally will bring birdies, and it is soft. I would imagine that a lot of the top of the leaderboard, well, Brian Harman specifically, the course is going to be playing very long today. That's not going to play to his strengths. So that's why it invites the chasing pack to really have a go, because if they attack the course and unleash some drivers and have a good day, they can be very aggressive. Obviously, as you mentioned, with the rough growing up and getting a little bit firmer, a little bit higher, that could lead to a few more disasters, but it's definitely out there. If not exactly for the taking, it's out there to be attacked.
Yeah, and Brian Harman is another prolific winner. So on the PGA Tour, he's won the John Deere Classic and he's won Wells Fargo. That was in the 2016-17 season. So, you know, that is not a huge amount of wins for Brian Harman, and this must be an enormous mental challenge for him as he sits at the top of the leaderboard with all eyes on him with 36 to go.
Yeah, he was speaking yesterday about he's led US Open before after 54 holes, and he said he wasn't fully prepared to tackle that mentally. Didn't eat well, didn't sleep well. So he's going to be in a better position, because you need, you know, a lot of people need that experience, don't they, at the top of the leaderboard to understand what that pressure is like, to be able to cope with it properly. Alex moving his way up into his irons there.
Yeah, Brian Harman is 36 years old, so he is an experienced campaigner. Kind of tough, you know, if you play on the PGA Tour and you're a medium hitter, you don't have many opportunities really probably to shine, so maybe a strength of character note for him there of how long he's lasted. So that is Zach Fisher just in a little waterproof. Actually, I'm not sure if that... No, that is. So, oh, looks pretty serious about what he's doing there.
He does, doesn't he? Oh, rain glove. Always nice time with the rain glove.
Yeah.
Whips that off.
Yeah, Zach.
Right at the end of the range, all eyes will be away from him. Where did you go to on the range, Simon? You were top of the ranger, middle of the ranger, bottom of the ranger?
I was never that... Like, I think the optics is quite hard. I was never good at hitting like across the range. I found it quite difficult. I can hit from the left to the right. I'm not as good hitting from the right to the left. Nick Faldo always used to sort of try to go very much in the middle. He found it easier to work from the middle or very, very far left. So, yeah, I mean, people definitely have a pattern where you're more comfortable or not comfortable.
Yeah. I would definitely not go to the bottom of the range where Peters is there, just in case it was a tin cup shank moment going across everyone's feet.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever a good look.
No, it's not. So, here we go. Kind of the fast, snappy hands. Pretty nice shot.
It's a great swing, isn't it, Thomas Peters?
I think it is. I think it is. I think he's, you know, really one of the very, very strong players. I think he's gone to play for the Live Tour, which probably, maybe, I don't know if that's going to impact negatively his chances of being in the Ryder Cup. Oh, now watch this. This is the flusher of all flushers, Jordan Smith. Like that action?
Yeah, it's a lovely move, isn't it, that? Again, just a very solid all-around player. It's a really cool thing about the Open Championship, the way that the qualifying process actually works. You get so many different names on here than you would normally see in your kind of week-to-week PJ event, for example. Yeah, it's a good mix, and that's why the leaderboards are always so exciting.
Yeah, he was a really good amateur player, and now a very, very strong player on the PGA, on the DP World Tour. So
yeah, I've seen him doing this drill a few times this week, just getting the alignment stick gripped on the top of the grip, running past his left hip as he moves through.
yeah, just a little bit of sort of reminder of where you've got to go. Like that one trigger works with Simon Shanks. So brisk setup.
It's like Pete Cowan's there again in the background working with Thomas Peters. I don't think he's actually left the range this week.
He just has a little tent at the back of it. So just if you're interested, here are Jordan's numbers. So he's got a 60, 55, 50 wedge setup. So the 60 goes 95, the 55 goes 114, the 50 goes 132. His 46, that's his pitching wedge, that's 145. Then kind of the normal jumps: 9 iron, 158, 8 iron, 173 yards, 7 iron, 188, 6 iron is 202. 5 iron 215, 4 iron 230, and he's got a 3 woods. So it's very interesting to sort of see, you know, I'd say that's probably just slightly above the average, Peter.
Yeah, it's a swing that does produce a lot of almost effortless power, isn't it? He doesn't look like a power hitter. I suppose if you are building the game around accuracy, it's not absolutely necessary. I'm guessing that's his 50 degree then at 126, up to his, probably his wedge. Going up through the entire bag, or would you be skipping a club every now and again? Odds and evens, going through every shot. Just that reminder again about just trying to also get those hands moving out in front and then passing in front of the body.
Yeah, just a nice little sequence drill, geometry drill there, just a reminder. Especially when you're warming up, just get the right feel early in the system. I think most of the guys kind of skip. Let's suppose you do 9, 7, 5. You might come back and do 8, 6, 4 after or the next day. Just keep working around it. So off at 2:15. 12:15, can't read. With Hughes Lowton, that's a nice group to follow actually. 2 really good ball strikers.
Yeah, it's been very pleasing to see the amount of fans that are still streaming in through the gates this morning. A lot of umbrellas on show, but most of them will be down right now as the rain stops. It is going to be on and off all day though. There's going to be squalls moving through. Again, more challenging conditions for the players. I think they've seen literally every type of weather condition feasible this week.
Yeah, you know what though, the course has handled it so well, hasn't it? So interesting to see. So Jordan working on his game, working on his drill. Simon, his caddy's there, his coach is there. So he's going to go out with Hughes Lowton. Another good iron player, Hughes Lowton. Wearing a visor, easy to spot. So orange bag. National
Orange
colours,
bag and normally an orange top on the last day, isn't it, as well?
He can go orange top. We saw a lovely little kid yesterday. His name was Ricky. He's a member here, named after Ricky Fowler. He's a member of the club, and he was in full orange, and he was just waiting to see if he was going to get a chance to see Ricky Fowler. And I sent George Harper, our man George, on a mission to see if we could get an introduction between those two. So we'll see if that's something that can happen today. Just has just gone to the Matt Fitzpatrick chipping, low left hand, high right hand, cross-handed chipping. Peter, have you ever had a go with that?
Yeah, I've had a go. I mean, the actual technique of it makes sense. I mean, if you can keep the left hand leading, you're able to add an extra, not exactly firmness, but a little bit more solidity to that lead arm. And also, I mean, it does help if you really want to release the club underneath the ball, because you can just fold the left wrist. So the only issue with it, in many respects, is it's just a little bit alien. It's a little bit strange.
Yeah.
And to other people, if you chip cross-handed, it's always an open invitation for other people to come over and start getting in your grill and ask what you're doing.
Yeah.
So as long as you're confident with it, it's fine. If you're not, you're just giving it a go. You can let go of it very quickly once people start asking questions.
He's put it into his bag. So have you ever tried chipping 10 fingers? I quite like doing that.
Baseball grip. I mean, generally, I don't like chipping at all, but
no, I like chipping. So it's like, it is interesting just working on how your hands work with each other. I think 10 fingers on the club baseball grip is quite a nice way of sort of feeling the club head release. I sometimes warm up with that a little bit, even just 7 irons off a tee, get the feeling of the club releasing. So Yost, just a pitching wedge, I would say, 138 yards.
See Jordan Smith moving up to 187.
Jordan.
Some slight peels left to right there.
Yeah, little baby sliders. So 187, a 7 iron for Jordan is a 188. So we're sort of thinking that he's just now moving through that 7 iron. Yost, again, probably still on pitching wedge. It's so interesting to see. We've got these data points. So the carry is sort of like what's happening. That's just ball, some sort of ground-to-ground cover. Ball speed, then you've got launch. We don't have spin, but spin's important. Apex is the height. We've seen guys working a lot of different apexes because of the conditions and the fact that links is something that's played much more on the ground, Peter.
Yeah, I imagine that most of the guys out there may be shifting that apex up a little bit today, just because of the, not exactly lack of wind, but it certainly sat down a lot. And also the advantage of being able to carry it more straight to the target. The ball isn't going to be running quite as much on the green, so they can carry it their preferred distances. So much more of a numbers game today rather than that artistry that you generally see. We'll just have a quick break and then join us back live at the range.
We're told that the weather forecast for today is kind early on, with the possibility of some wet weather later.
I think Mother Nature kicks it up another notch.
Quite extraordinary. What a moment.
Welcome back, live at the range. Flags have switched, Peter. First time we've seen them working that way, so kind of into the players, so that it is moving around a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say this kind of wind actually makes the course a touch easier, I would say. The only holes that it really makes more difficult is going to be 18. That's going to be a little bit more into the wind today. But actually, I think that even my favour the players, because it's not going to be off their left shoulder pushing the ball towards the out of bounds. It's going to be in off the right side, so they can hit it straight at those bunkers on the left-hand side. Maybe make it a 3-shotter, but considering some of the absolute nightmares we've seen take place there, playing it as a 3-shot par 5 might be a decent strategy.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it's certainly different conditions. In the 2 previous Opens, the Tiger Open and the Rory Open, the flags were pumping the total opposite way. So this driving range was left to right and pretty sparsely populated because it was such a difficult condition. So Maronk from Poland, Polish superstar. Ryder Cupper, Peter?
I mean, he's been very consistent for the last few years, hasn't he? I think he'd consider himself unlucky if he didn't manage to get on the plane to Rome. Of course, he won the Italian Open at this course as well, so at the Ryder Cup course as well. So he's definitely got a strong case to make.
Got to maybe have one more win before he goes out there. He's going to play with Thomas Pieters. Don't know if Thomas Pieters is eligible or not eligible, so a few things still to be worked out. So 12:30 with Thomas Pieters.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky for Lou Donald, isn't it? Because obviously he's got a lot more captain's picks this year, so we kind of have a little bit more freedom with what he does. But there's a lot of young European rookies just waiting for their first chance. So yeah, he might have given himself a little bit more of a headache with those picks.
Yeah, you know what though? I was thinking at the sort of like start of the season, let's say if it was end of last season, the golfing season. Oh, how about that? A little swing sequence, just put it through your belt buckle. That's just sort of to get the feeling of your arms and your hips. So I guess if you're seriously tall, yeah, and now down in front there. Yeah. So trying to just get a match-up feel there. I like that drill.
Yeah, it's not a bad one to use. If you do get a tendency to get stuck inside, I would use it in conjunction with a trained professional, just so you don't impale your arm on the downswing.
Yeah, so if you're starting off, make sure you pull the stick so that there's far less at the back side there on your right hip. So you want to have right hip not much stick, left hip much more. So
yeah, make sure there's a lot more sticking out towards the target.
Yeah.
He's also got some alignment sticks.
Look at that. Look at that. His little system there.
He's going through a full tin cup moment. Just giving it a little push down.
Yeah.
There's alignment sticks everywhere here.
I love an alignment stick. I think they're great. So, but I was thinking, like, end of the season, I'm thinking, oh, man. I'm Team Europe's big fan, right? So I'm thinking, oh, this looks terrible for us, right? As a European supporter. I think our kind of lead 8 guys are all getting better and better and better. And we've got some great, fresh picks in there for that last 4 or 5 to slot in the bottom end. I think we are much more even than we were at Christmas. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I would say going into Rome, if the current forms continue, we're probably going to be marginal favourites around that golf course.
I love that. Pierre, that's a great shout.
I mean, we've also
it's
got
11:48 on the 22nd of July, and you've heard it here. Peter Finch calling us as the favourites. Love that.
And we've also, because we've got some like sneaky contenders there as well. I think Sepp Straka is now an automatic pick on the world's point system. He's currently 3rd. We will see him warming up live at the range a little bit later on this morning. And he's managed to ease himself into those automatic picks after a great year last year. Very quiet start, but he's peaking at the right time. And that's what it's all about. You know, that is generally what golf is about. It's managing to peak at the right times for the big events.
So Maronk really working on the drill. I mean, he is out in literally 40 minutes, and he's just going through with his coach just these little exercises, a little swing sequence exercise. Hydration is key. Like sportsmen now, aren't they? Here, Thomas Pieters with the effervescent Peter Cowan, just clipping out a few wedges.
Yeah, I think he's got the longest drive on the range today, so he must have worked to back down his bag, just clipping a few wedges away.
Such a power hitter, isn't he? At 1 under par, what do you think the guys have got to get to? What's a good score today? Any sort of sense of that? Is 4 under par a good score today, or is that not enough for these guys?
From the chasing pack, I think you've got to be looking to match what Harman did yesterday, around 65. I think that would be a good number today. I think it is possible to go lower out there with the softer conditions. But I think that might be the province of more of those power hitters who can carry over the danger and take on the golf course.
It'll be interesting. Ricky Fowler is 3 under par with a very clean card. He's got 2 par 5s to come. Cantlay is in the same situation. He's 3 under par for his round today, and he's got the 2 par 5s. So there's a chance for a good finish.
Yeah, I think someone's going to come out of the pack and have a very, very good round today. I just got that feeling. It's that excitement in the air. It's just a sense, isn't it, that someone's going to do something fantastic. And also with the crowd today, because it is raining, because it is a little bit wet, the crowds, when something starts to happen, are going to go absolutely nuts. They want to keep themselves excited. They want to keep themselves warm. So if anyone gets on a little bit of a hot streak, they're going to be absolutely 100% behind them, no matter who they are.
Well, there's some pretty good tee times coming up. So we right now are 11:50, right? So we're kind of just watching those guys head down there. That's Peters and Moronk. They're going to be heading out 12:30. And then some nice tee times. 1:10, that's Hideki Matsuyama, Victor Hovland. Who else we got? Stenson and Wyndham Clark. Those guys are 1 under. That's a 155. Stuart Sink is out with Matt Jordan. He's going to have a big old gallery. And then you kind of get to like the marquee guys who you're thinking these guys are going to make a move. At 225, Rory is playing with Max Homa. That's going to be really worth following them. Cam Young, Jordan Spieth at 245. Jason Day with Shubs heading out there at 310, and then final group Fleetwood and Harmon at 3:30 today. So there's it'd be interesting to see, as the day gets longer, will the course get easier? It's so interesting.
See, Moronk, well, we're not too far away from Justin Rose, who's on the range as well. He missed the cut. Were you someone who would stick around after the event?
There are a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys. So first thing is, Justin Rose might be thinking, okay, his coach is here, right? I'm going to have a chance to work 2 more days. This is a really, really good, well-organized driving range, probably better than my home driving range, and I'm here, and I'm just going to use the time to really work it out. My trainer's here, so there'll be a reason why, it's not like head down, full strop back to where he is, which I think is now into Surrey somewhere.
I think he's got a home in the Bahamas as well. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad place to.
I'll tell you what,
tail back to, would it?
Albany in the Bahamas is a pretty nice place to spend the summer.
Definitely. I don't think he'd be wearing a base layer there, would he?
No. So we saw him really kind of going through quite a methodical system there, kind of left arm really connected. So the idea is that left arm doesn't kind of rotate off his chest as he goes back, and he kind of loses where the arms have gone. So Rose working hard, hitting tee shots. So he's going to be just trying to find a feel. I think he will be thinking, what have I got to do to improve my game, get on the Ryder Cup? He's got to be thinking, I mean, amazing victory right in Pebble Beach. Justin Rose.
He's had a good season. I think he's probably done enough to at least put himself in the picture. But
yeah, shot a pair of 74s, so I'd be annoyed with that, won't he? Ollie Wilson there. He was working so hard this tournament at the beginning with Robert Rock, showing some good form. Really good form. One of the most unusual careers to map out. I mean, from up to down to up to down to up to down to disappeared to back again, and here you go.
Yeah, like you said, he was working with Robert Rock, who has just one of the best swings still. I know he's not playing as much tour golf anymore, but making that transition from tour pro to coach, I always find it's an interesting way to go. You must really just love the game if you start to make that transition.
Yeah, I think he was sort of just, asked to help a few people and found he was really good at it. So Ollie Wilson out at 12.40. He's 1 over par. He's going to be hoping for a really, really solid day. Been working hard on just kind of the positioning of that right arm on the top. So that's what Robert Rock was telling him, was that that right arm just keeps running in behind him. So the elbow goes back too far in behind you. And you've got to keep it more up in front. And then you can straighten it. So Ollie really just chatting through it. This is what I'm trying to do. What do you think, Caddy? Can you see what I'm on the right spot there? Or, you know, can you remember what Rob said?
I mean, I imagine if he's going out 12.40, the caddy will be like, wow, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen it in a better position.
What, boss? Yeah, perfect. Am I doing it?
Yeah, where did you want your right arm position? Was it about there? Oh, I love it. Fantastic shot. Well, I've never seen a better shot than that. There you go.
I'll tell you what, it's funny, though. If you are a coach, you never kind of blag the feedback, because I think that, you know, if the player said, am I doing this, and he wasn't doing it, you couldn't look him in the eyes and go, you know what?
Just have to change the subject.
You'd have to change the subject, yeah. Do you think we'll win the cricket this afternoon? Oh, I hope we win the cricket. So, been a great series, hasn't it? So entertaining if you're an Ashes fan.
I mean, it stopped raining here,
yeah.
so...
Australia always play, I think when they play their sports in such a good way, don't they? Remember in 2005, hanging out with poor old lovely Warney, sadly missed, but really good sportsmen, the Aussies. So here we go.
Yeah, he's got a plane perfector out there as well. So it's a training aid. So as Ollie gets set up here, he's going to try and get that shaft pretty much along the same angle as the alignment stick in the ground behind. As he moves it back, he's going to make sure he doesn't clatter into it. And as he moves back into the ball, he's going to make sure it comes out in front. So it's more to try and get the feeling of having that one plane action. So if he was to move back and clip the alignment stick, he'll know he's gone a little bit too far on the inside. So again, to what you were saying, Simon, just to try and keep the right arm out in front of him, keep the club out in front of him a little bit more.
Yeah, so the mistaken Ollie swing is probably gets a little bit lifty with the arms, and then the pelvis, instead of like rotating and sort of keeping his, let's say, his bum like on a wall, if you can imagine there's a wall on his bum comes off the wall, so his hips come in, his chest goes up, and he loses it. He loses the path, so his arms go away from him through the ball, and if you can imagine, like not concentric circles, not a left exit, but a right exit.
Yeah, it's a very difficult combination to get, to make sure that you get the depth in the hip turn, that you don't get too far onto your toes, but also whilst keeping that right elbow out in front. It's a tricky combination. It's a busy thing in your head, isn't it? Yeah, there's a lot of things going on there.
So, but Ollie is used to that. I think he could probably have about 12 swing thoughts, and that's just in his address. So interesting to watch. Look how hard, like when amateurs say, do the tour players just sort of stand up on the tee, hit a few shots, and then off they go? Some do and some don't. Ollie, I'd say he's probably at the more technically orientated.
Yeah, it's just everyone has a different process, don't they? I mean, he is very obviously technically minded, loves the golf swing, loves to get into the details. I remember a while ago did some work with Shane Lowry for a magazine shoot, and the idea was to do a bit of a technical instruction piece on how he shapes the ball, like draws and fades.
Yeah.
And
I see it and I do it.
Yeah, his answer was, how do you hit a draw? He says, well, just aim right and hit a draw.
Yeah.
And that's how he sees the game. That's how he plays.
Yeah, he's refreshing, isn't he? He'd be so annoyed with himself. Shane Lowry. Seamus Power missed the cut on the number 4 over.
I mean, usually the ideal state to be in before you go out, and then when you go play is, you know, you're just swinging free. You know, you're seeing your targets, you're seeing the shape of the shot, and you're hitting it.
Yeah. So
but
Shane Lowry,
it's very rare that you get into that kind of place.
Here we go. There we go. That's the Ollie Wilson pattern of shots that he's hit in his warm-up. Here we got longest drive up on the top. That was Thomas Peters. He just left. So Ollie Wilson was, his is about 270, so just kind of cruising in back behind. Bryson gave it a good old go.
So you can definitely see that the wind has shifted here, and it's more into the players off the left-hand side if the longest carry is 293.
But look at that. I mean, the wind, and it's not much, makes 50 yards difference.
Yeah, very true.
So there we go. Oh, we have a graphics expert. He's called Fred. Man, he's had a busy week, Fred. He's from Sweden. Chenna Fred. So, yeah, he's really...
Very talented chap, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Been writing codes, getting us new chaps. So look here. 2 gloves. Yeah. Oh, no, wait, that's a little swing aid. Look at that, we haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Benan, little bit of the old wrist, like that compression angle in the back of the right wrist. You like a bit of that, Peter?
Yeah, so the feeling for everyone kind of watching this at home is as he moves through the ball here, that little scoop on his right wrist, he wants his right hand to slot into that at impact, and it just keeps the handle pressed ahead of impact at the ball.
Yeah, so it's about compressing down. You can compress down in a couple of different ways, like chest over the ball is one, weight shift being compressed forward into your left foot is one, right arm straightening out is another. So you're trying to work the pressure down and forward, and then you have that sort of changeover with that vertical coming out the left side. So it's a pretty complex maneuver. If you analyze it from a biomechanical point of view. It's almost like the biomechanical languages, their vocabulary has leaked into golf vocabulary, and they've definitely changed how people talk about golf swings, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, I think the crossover now between like what you would class as like your standard golf coach, your biomechanics, and the whole kind of lingo, the whole conversation around the golf swing, it has started to join because the education's just getting much better. People are understanding these terms a little bit more.
Yeah, and we can see more, right? Imagine in the old days, you just have a golf coach looking with his eyes at a player swinging a club, and now then the video camera was amazing. Then probably the next thing was, I would say, force plates, then 3D and 4D suits. TrackMan, a launch monitor, so you can see a lot and understand a lot more about impact.
Absolutely. I mean, all these tools, it just allows you to explain what is happening a lot easier.
So, in the background behind Benan is a former Aussie cricket captain who is literally a carbon copy of our current leader. So if we just pan slightly to the left and focus in there, having a coffee. Golf addict.
Absolutely.
Next to Mark Butcher. Now, the reason they're there is that they have been given a little break from the comms in Manchester. Now, can you sort of see that face and Brian, Brian Harman? I mean, is that like a matchup or what? Are you having that?
Yeah, I know. I think we might have to check Mr. Ponting's movements from about 30-odd years ago. Did he ever venture into the Midwest?
Oh, I don't know if we should even venture in down that. So here we go. There he is, Ponting. Great cricketer and a very, very good player.
Yeah, great competitor.
Excellent golfer. Yeah, but excellent golfer. Absolutely loving the adventure. Beautiful, great to see him. Uh-oh, maybe those guys are trying to get Ponting off the range. So, our local police have been amazing this week. They're here in the eventuality of a problem, but they're here really to help us move safely around a golf course, navigate all the way around. And the golf course has been, I mean, such a busy place, hasn't it? Hundreds of people out there now, thousands.
Yeah, it's to kind of police such a huge area must be an absolutely massive undertaking.
So, out on the golf course somewhere, I imagine, I'm hearing, is going to be George.
Hey guys, we've made it behind the scenes, this time of the Content Hub. So much going on here in this room. We've got the open radio. You might see a lot of fans cruising around with one of these on their eardrums. This is where it all happens, all the magic of broadcasting right here. So, and through outdoors there is the commentary booth, which I think we might just go pay a little visit to. So if you're out and about on the course, make sure you get one of these, because you can listen to golf wherever you go. It's great. And around here, this is where all the content's produced, social media and everything. This is what you see online everywhere you go. The Open is busy, busy, busy. So we're going to sneak out the back. And if I haven't been in everyone's eardrums enough so far, I'm going to do it even more with the open radio. So now we're really behind the scenes. Then we sneak in here and look at this, the quiet of the studio. Beautiful stuff. And in we come. Hello team, how are we all?
George, we're well, we're well.
Fantastic.
We're about 30 seconds away from coming live again, so if you could just hang with us for a moment. You know, I'm just getting back into the zone for this interview.
Back into the zone.
With Ron and Sophie as able backup.
Oh, it's great to be in here, and this is where the magic happens and where everyone can listen all out on course. So we're probably going to leave you. I might hang this mic up and pick up another one. Tune in.
Yeah, George has uncovered all sorts of different aspects of the enormous production that is the Open Championship. It really is, well, it's growing all the time, isn't it, Peter?
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest event that, you know, golf holds, certainly in Europe. And behind the scenes, once you start to look into it, the amount of things going on is crazy. You know, it's so easy just to kind of turn on the TV, watch live at the range and think, oh, it is what it is. It's just there in front of you. But
yeah,
the amount of work that's going on to bring these images is incredible.
Yeah, well,
and everyone's doing a really good job.
Yeah, so that little minion at the bottom of your screen there, that's a new part of our technology which gives you a viewpoint of the players heading over you, which is a really fascinating kind of like new look. So we've got 3 of those. You can see him just rotating. You can actually talk to them, at least I can talk to them, so I can actually sort of say, there he goes up to the sky and now down, right? And there he is. And one of the minions. Okay, so are you having a good day, minion number 2?
I think that might be a yes.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
I really think I can talk to them.
Really?
Yeah.
Shall I try and ask it a question?
Okay. Okay, so...
Do you like taking orders from Simon Holmes? No, I don't think so.
Wait. No. Like, that's it. Look how happy it is. It's really happy. Look at that. Okay. There you go. So, enough of that. Here we go. Guys heading out for day 3, and they're going to need to get, everyone's going to need to get their scoring boots on. It's like there's not a question mark of kind of hedging and holding your position because of what Brian Harman did yesterday. 10 under par. I mean, he's kind of knocked everything out of the park, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, for me, though, today, it also frees so many people up.
Yeah.
Like, if they want a chance of winning the Open, and every single professional in this field, that is what they came here to do, they have to attack and hope that Brian Harman falls back. Because what we're saying and what we're expecting, almost hoping for in some kind of ways, is that Brian Harman doesn't have another incredible day, which he's perfectly capable of having. So if he comes back to us a little bit, you know, we're looking for this chasing pack to get on an absolute tear and get up to him. But I think it will happen. I've got a good feeling today about some very low scores coming in from the chasing pack.
Well, you picked Brian Harman. I know that was a long time ago, and I mean, it has happened. There is history of this. Let's think here. Who could we pull out? Perhaps Bobby Clampett. Do you remember that?
I mean, it was a little before my time.
In Troon, 82. I was actually there as a young, very young player. Bobby Clampett built up, I think it was something like a 7-shot lead somewhere on day 3. And just slowly managed to leak it out to where, I mean, still had a lead going into the last day, but Tom Watson ended up shooting 70 and winning. So there's history of this. holding on would be just the most amazing achievement. So Thomas Detry, he's going to be thinking, you know, what's he thinking from where he is? Is he just gone, okay, you know what, I got to just throw everything at it today?
Just got to attack. I mean, the bunkers are so well placed that if you attack and you get past them, it does open up the holes for you. But if you do go in the bunkers, yes, again, it's 0.5 of a shot added, you know.
Interesting. So
it's going to turn into a very risk-reward course today.
Yeah. So I think the guys have really kind of like moved around. You know, they really trying to use the different apexes. Thomas Detry has hit a couple of 120 apex. I mean, that's what you do out on the PGA Tour. You just kind of launch it straight up in the air. 120 feet's well above PGA Tour average.
Yeah,
Peter.
Honestly, I do think that that's the way to go today. I think today is less of a links day. I think today is more of a tee it high, bomb it, chase those numbers that you know that you can hit. Allow for a little backspin on the greens as well.
Look at that. That's launched 177. 130 apex, 127. So when Brian Harman wakes up this morning and he looks out the window, what is he hoping for? What would he have wanted?
I think today for him, anything on the par would be good.
And what about the weather? What sort of weather would he have liked?
I think he would be hoping for a bit more wind.
Harder to keep the field away from him.
Yeah, a bit more wind, a little bit more firmness in the ground.
Yeah.
You know, because he is not. He can shift it when he wants to, but he's not a player who's going to get a lot of carry.
No. So it's going to be interesting.
And it's such a one of the reasons why it's such an amazing course at Royal Liverpool is it can give birdies if you kind of ride your luck a little bit and start whacking the driver, but man, it can take shots away so quickly as well.
You think Thomas Detry's a Ryder Cup player?
I think
Thomas Peters, Thomas Detry, little team there.
He's got potential of being a Ryder Cup player, but I don't. You know, his performances probably haven't quite merited. He's not had that stellar win, that stellar performance that really propels him to the front of the queue.
Interesting. So we're watching his statistics in the right-hand side. It's all pretty steady, isn't it? If you wanted to hit, I didn't like that. You can see him give that the, oh no, not one of those. And that was the one he would try to hit hard. That's a 183. So that was 6 miles an hour faster, and he really lost control of that.
Yeah, that shot today that goes a long way offline, that is going to be an issue because the rough is going to be lush.
Yeah.
Like if you settle to the bottom of the grass today, it's just a wedge out.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're going to be, if you've got to attack, you're going to have to ride your luck today.
Yep, he's out at 1250. That's going to be with Abe Answer, who just walked past him. So Thomas already on driver. Abe hasn't hit a ball yet.